Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for taking a minute to jump in and watch this walkthrough of the Workpaper Series 2 that we're going to need to get completed for the state auditor's office project. I'm going to go ahead and get this posted today, and I recognize that the Series 1 work papers are due tonight. Um, I told someone else, and this is true, I want to make sure that they all get done, and I don't want you to take excessive amounts of time. But if you need an extra day, like these aren't super hard deadlines, up until the point that we're going to actually do the presentations on the 23rd. That's the only really hard deadline, and then of course the end of the semester to get into peer review stuff. So if you need an extra day or something, email me, let me know, and then your team leader will have to email me your results. You won't be able to submit them. You have to email them to me. Um, but that's it. So let's go ahead then and talk about Workpaper Series 2. Um, in this one, so the first one, the first series, Workpaper series, what I wanted you guys to do was go through and just think of ways that you could just analyze the data. It wasn't looking for fraud. It wasn't looking for anything specific like that. It was just like, okay, sort of, what are the statistics? Where are outliers? What are, top vendors and stuff? It just to sort of get to know your data. That's what the Work Paper Series 1 was. And then, yeah, you got to go through and, run some of those tests. But that again, that's just you're posting like statistics and stuff from your data. What we want to do now is we want to start to change gears, and we want to start to think about uh, how fraud can happen within purchasing card programs. And, it can be very, very, very easy to commit fraud. Whether it's you have your own purchasing card and you're using it for something that is not allowed, or if you simply have access to a purchasing card. Whenever I worked at KPMG, we had a temporary person who came in and was working as um, she was worked as the person who was on the like behind the desk at the front door, and then was also doing like administrative assistant work for one of the partners. And we had a credit card in the drawer at the front door desk, just because sometimes the person who worked there would have to pay for something or whatever, or order something, or supplies or something. And she took that credit card and went on a shopping spree at Macy's. And none of us knew that it happened, but obviously other people that worked there did and found out about it. And they actually took her out in handcuffs, like from I happened to just randomly be in the office that day. So, that was uh, kind of crazy, but things like that happen. Um, so what we want to do then is switch gears and start thinking about sort of that fraud mindset of what could happen, what have other people done. That's the big one. What have other people done? And that's what this first work paper is for. Now, a couple of these are old examples. And I think a couple of these links are actually broken, like this one here about the fuel for personal use or whatever. I think that link's broken now. But what I want you to do is just go to Google and search. We open Google and we search what. Oh, my daughter's been searching stuff on there. Scary stories to tell in the dark. Um, Also, we had an issue with my fish tank this morning. If you can't, so let's do purchasing card. Literally something as basic as that. And now you're going to get some of your ads and stuff. This is AARP and stuff. But if you scroll down a little bit and you get past all the ads, you got the AI overview, and then starting here, you've got different examples of stuff that's happened. Um, whether it's uh, like this posted by Arkansas, which is going to be like a policy, or if it's going to be like here in Internal Auditor Magazine on the front lines, P card fraud detection. This is a new uh, a new article. I'm trying to see, yeah, February 3rd. So that's only a couple months ago that this was posted. So there, city employees likely misspent millions of Richmond something. So basically, there's a lot of examples that you can go through, and now you don't have to fill in every box. I mean, what is this, 34? So there's a lot of boxes here. There's 22. I don't expect you to go through and find 22 different things. You absolutely can. You don't have to. But what you're doing is you're familiarizing yourself with the types of frauds that other individuals have performed with regard to purchasing card programs. And so, what kind of fraud was it? Give me a little brief explanation, and then give me a link to whatever the source data is, whether, it's an article or whatever you went to. Give me the link, because especially whenever there's interesting ones, I like to go and check them out myself, because I think it's kind of cool to check it out. Not that the fraud is cool, but to go and read about it and figure out how they got caught and stuff. So that's this work. Pretty straightforward. The second one, just as straightforward. What I want you to think about now is you've got a bunch of examples of stuff other people have done. Now we have our purchasing card data, and at this point, because you've looked at it a bunch of different ways and done some basic analysis, you know what kind of data is in there. And so what I want you to do is to go through and come up with possible types of fraud that we could detect using the data that we have. Obviously, our data doesn't have, every single detail in it. And so there's some things that wouldn't make any sense. And so that's why I want you to go through and think about specifically, here's what we have, and here's what someone could do with it that, had nefarious purposes. This is how they could use it to steal, or steal from us, or steal from the company. Whatever the case may be. So that's all it is. It's just a list. So you've got basically 2 pages, 2 lists. And that's really all you got to do. That's it. That's the entirety of Workpaper Series 2. If you have any questions, get a hold of me. Let me know. Otherwise, we'll call this one a day. I will get it posted, and you guys can go with it from there. Like I said, quick here. Since I actually opened up an old example. I don't want you obviously to go in there. If I see anything specifically, just copy back and forth. But like, here's something that, some students did a couple years ago. And, purchasing fuel for personal use, alcohol, gift cards, adult entertainment, personal travels, sharing the P card with other people. So just a bunch of different things like that. Those were all examples that they came up with, and then, how they would test it. Same for their known frauds. They went down to line 22. So that's what. Say 10 or 11, I don't know, somewhere 10 or 11 different items that they looked up. So again, nothing too complicated. Oh, I need to put that. So yeah, that's it. That's all we've got. Feel free to send questions to me. Otherwise, I will start grading on the Workpaper Series 1 submissions you guys have done, and keep chugging along. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see everyone later.